Oh, wow. I didn't see it coming. Hello, everybody. Hope you had a great Christmas. It's Ian here once again from OUFC Fan View to give you another review of another Oxford United game. It was Boxing Day, one of the biggest games in the football calendar in the UK. Today, Oxford were at home to their varsity neighbours, Cambridge United. There was a lot of anger and a lot of frustration around Oxford United players and fans after the heartbreak of that performance and late defeat against Northampton, and quite rightly so. It was a poor display. So in a full house or a full home end for Oxford United today on Boxing Day, Oxford really needed to give the fans something, and for large periods of this game it didn't look like it was going to come, but it came right at the end of the game. Oxford United snatch it late like we did last season against Cambridge. It's a win for Oxford United that we desperately needed, and we desperately need to keep squirreling away these wins until that window opens. And it finished Oxford United 2, Cambridge United 1. And it's a Cambridge United side that will be kicking themselves how they didn't get something from this game. And based on their first half performance, they'll be kicking themselves how they didn't take all 3 points. But Oxford did come on the stronger side in the second half and did find a way to win it. But we will get into all of that. As always, I will give the team news. I will give a review of the game. I don't do player ratings anymore, so I will go straight into my final thoughts after the match review. I leave timestamps down below, so if you do want to jump to any part of the video, please feel free to do so. But if you do, the very least you can do is hit like on this video, because that does help me out a heck of a lot. And if you do like the content, consider subscribing. And I've got to thank this crazy nutcase Owen the Rail again for giving me another very generous super chat, and I very much needed it after that game against Northampton. Thank you for your support, and thank you for everybody's support. I really appreciate it. Let's have a look at this Oxford United lineup. It is only one change from that side that had that disappointing defeat to Northampton Town. Josh Murphy is not past fit enough to play in this game, and it's another body blow to this Oxford United side and for Des Buckingham. We look threadbare from an attacking point of view. Certainly when you look on this Oxford United bench, you can see the lack of options that we had. Tyler Goodhram did come into the game and start on the left wing, and yeah, it was quite good. Quite important that Tyler did play in this game. But with the likes of Murphy joining Bodin, Brown and Edwards all injured, you can see how Oxford United are very much struggling. As I've said in these videos before, we just need to nick and grind out a few wins until those players come back or until the window opens. Let's have a look at Cambridge United then, and the other U's, or the fake U's as I sometimes call them, started today in 14th place and have recently had a managerial change with Mark Bonner, who did an excellent job at Cambridge, but just kind of they felt it was time to go a different direction, has been replaced by Neil Harris. And this has brought about a managerial bounce for Cambridge. Gee, it would have been nice to have one of them, wouldn't it? But we never seem to have one. And Cambridge have drawn 1 and won 2 of the 3 games since Harris has come in. But Cambridge did have injury problems themselves, and 2 big blows for them up front. Their main man had Adhami, say his name properly, Adami, there we go, I don't know, one way, but whatever, he's their top scorer and he was missing. And if you remember back to the first game of the season, he really bullied Elliot Moore that day, so good for Oxford United that he wasn't playing. And Kachunga, another guy who scored I think 5 or 6 goals this season, is also missing. That means Adam May comes into the midfield and Jack Lancaster starts up front. He scored on the opening day as well and had a very good game, so Oxford needs to be very wary of him. Oxford United links in this Cambridge side, well, you have to look no further than the goalkeeper. That is right, Jack Stephen has been the number 1 for Cambridge all season after signing in the summer from Oxford United. So let's break down this game, and if you take your way back to the start of the match, it was quite flat for the first 15-20 minutes of this game. Cambridge had half a chance from a corner, and Stan Mills put a good ball into a dangerous area for Oxford, which, not for the first time this season, avoided absolutely everybody. But that was about it really, and not really much happened in this game until Cambridge took the lead. And this was after 30 minutes of the game, and it did come from a corner. But before that, Cambridge had a long spell in possession where they just kept the ball away from Oxford and moved it easily around Oxford United, really. They forced a corner. It was a bit of a routine ball into the box, and Oxford can't clear it, and these defensive frailties from set pieces are starting to become a bit of a problem, and the ball just never really got outside of the 6-yard box, really, and it just seemed to bounce in slow motion towards Cousins at the back post. There was no one around him, and he just thought, right, I'll just stab it into the back of the net. It's exactly what he did, and Cambridge take the lead. And Oxford are in a bad place at this point of the game, and at this point of the season, really, and the atmosphere at the Kassam Stadium turned very nasty very quickly, and Cambridge was swarming all over Oxford after this first goal. Just every second ball they were winning. They were looking dangerous from every set piece, and as I say, the atmosphere was not looking very good as Adam May fizzed the ball over from long range. But after that first goal, it did the chances did start to come, and Oxford actually forced one themselves on 35 minutes. Some good work by Mark Harris up front. His hold-up work has been decent in recent weeks, and it was good work again by him, and he got Mills in on that right hand side, and Mills put a good ball into a dangerous area. It created a goal mark scramble, and it just couldn't fall for Harris or Rodriguez. I think eventually it came out to Goodhram, whose shot was well saved by Jack Stevens. But then Cambridge came back themselves, and how they didn't score in this period I do not know. They had two amazing chances and one shot from long range. But 38 minutes, Cambridge put together what I can only just say is a beautiful sweeping move up the pitch. These were the sort of passing moves Oxford were putting together in the early part of the season. Quick passing, superb movement, and they just cut Oxford United open. A dinked cross from the left-hand side for Andrews, and Brophy was in acres of space about 10 yards out. Free header, and he just drifted it. Luckily for Oxford, wide of the post. The atmosphere would have been horrific if that would have gone in, but Cambridge were on fire at this point, and another flying move created a chance for Lancaster in the box, but it was well blocked by Ciaron Brown, and then just shortly after that, Sully Kai had a go from distance, and Beadle was able to get down and push it away for a corner. But on 41 minutes, and it was Oxford's turn again to have a little flurry of chances. Good work again by Mark Harris. Again, he played in Mills. Mills this time burst into the penalty area, but his shot was well saved by Jack Stevens. Rodriguez then showed a great bit of skill, got to the edge of the area. He got it through to Joe Bennett, who made a great run from left back. Bennett got all the way to the byline, and it's another one of those crosses that just eludes everybody, even though there were 4 Oxford United players in there. And then Cameron Brannagan had a deflected effort, which shouldn't have gone in, and Stevens just had to tip it over as a matter of precaution. But 1-0 to Cambridge at half-time, and some boos from the Oxford United faithful at that scoreline. And Cambridge United will, as I said at the start, will be kicking themselves how they weren't more than a goal up in this side. They look a very cohesive unit under Neil Harris. The likes of May, Brophy and Thompson all having excellent first halves. May so good in possession. Brophy always looking to, good defensively, but then always looking to break the lines, dribble through people when he's got the ball. And Thompson always looking to drop off into little pockets of space between the defence and the midfield. And Cambridge were proving to be everything that Oxford just hate playing against. A side that's well organised, a side that's very quick on the counter-attack, and a side that is dangerous from set pieces. So in many ways, not really a surprising scoreline. There were a few times where Oxford United was so passive they really needed to be shaken into life sometimes, but there's a couple of decent moments they did put together in the first half, mainly when Harris was able to get Mills in on the right hand side, and Rodriguez looked dangerous a couple of times. But there's some big issues in this side, and defensive issues are starting to become more and more of a problem as well. And also, like most sides that we play against, there just seems to be more desire from forwards, from midfielders to bust a gut to get into the box, which just Oxford players just don't seem to be able to do. Oxford need a big response in this game, but at half time I wasn't sure we were going to get it. Sound the bugle, because Oxford will be on the charge in the second half. Well, the players seemed to miss the memo on that one. They started the second half on the back foot. It was Cambridge who were taking the game to Oxford United, looking like they were winning all the second balls in midfield, creating chances, winning set pieces, a couple of early corners for Cambridge, and Oxford looked flat. They looked a beaten side, and they needed something, and on 53 minutes, they got something. Out of nothing, Oxford make it 1-1. They win a 50-50 in midfield. I think it was Bennett who won it, and it came to Brannagan, and Brannagan was able to free Tyler Goodhram down the left. It was the first time for a while that Goodhram was able to get a bit of space, and he cut inside on the edge of the box, 20 yards out, and he's curled it beyond Jack Stevens and in to the back of the net. Oxford needed that lifeline. It did not look like it was going to come. And just like last season, Tyler Goodhram provides the spark against Cambridge. But that certainly didn't lead Oxford on to an immediate charge. And it certainly didn't think, right, let's go and win this game. And for the next 15-20 minutes or so, the game went into a real lull. It went really scrappy as both sides were kind of caught between let's try and win it and let's not try and lose it. And whilst you were nervous because you're just nervous about watching Oxford at the moment, it really wasn't a great spectacle at that point. As the game crept forward, Oxford started to get up more of a head of steam, I would say. And on 70 minutes, a great Oxford move. Brannagan, again, Harris was involved in a lot of good Oxford moves today, just not scoring goals. That problem doesn't look like it's going to be addressed anytime soon. But Harris does very well to get the ball back to Brannagan. Brannagan gets inside the penalty area, and his shot is palmed brilliantly behind by Jack Stevens. And you just sensed that Oxford were gearing up for a final push. But, we've been so lacklustre in front of goal. You just didn't really have the belief that that goal was ever going to come. On 85 minutes, Brannagan with a free kick. It took a wicked deflection. You thought it was going to be one that would just be very, very unfortunate and go beyond Stevens, but Stevens was able to sort his feet out. The deflection took enough pace out of it for Stevens to get back, dive the other direction and push it to safety. Moving into the very end of the game now, 90th minute, another break from Oxford United. Henry, who'd come off the bench, played it into Brannagan wide on the left-hand side, and it was another shot from Brannagan, who had tons of shots today, was deflected behind for a corner, and you felt this one drifting towards a draw, but we thought that against Northampton there was a sting in the tail, but this time it was a sting in Oxford's favour as they won a late free kick. Brannagan, only one thought in his mind, to go for goal. It was a good hit, and Stevens could only parry the ball straight back into the middle of the goal. 3 Oxford players converging on it. Just put it in! Just put it in! And thankfully, Ciaron Brown did just that. Ciaron Brown, the unlikely match winner, but he scored a few important goals for Oxford United this season already. And while we had the pain of a last-minute defeat on Saturday, we had the joy and the elation of one this time, but it was harsh on Cambridge. But the game wasn't done. There was a late flurry from Cambridge, just bombing everything forward, everything you could, ball bouncing around. You're just so nervous. A linesman's flag came to Oxford's rescue, and that just about did it. My goodness. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't convincing, but we just needed a win by hook or by crook. And we got it. And that brings me on to my final thoughts. And let's start with the visitors, Cambridge United, as I always do. And look, commiserations, Cambridge fans. You must be absolutely sick. And if you have bothered to watch this video, then all I can say is you didn't deserve to lose this game today. And again, just like last season, somehow you come away from the Kassam Stadium with absolutely nothing. But your side played well today. Your side looked extremely solid and compact and hard to beat under Neil Harris. You've got some good attacking options, and especially the players you had out today, with Digby in there as well, who is also out. I think there's a lot of positives for Cambridge to look forward to for the back end of this season. I'm quite glad that we've kind of got this game out of the way, because they'll be a dangerous side to play against. Certainly a dangerous side to play against at their own patch as well. The Abbey Stadium, the name escaped me there for a moment. And yeah, just very, like what we saw under Mark Bonner as well, just very solid and very compact, but a lot of good ball players in there and a lot of dangerous players that can turn defence into attack very quickly. Their main strikers were out injured today, but the backup players who played today still look pretty dangerous. And I would just be interested to know if you can separate the annoyance from this game, what your thoughts are on this game and your thoughts on how you think the season's going to go. And would you even say that you might be an outside bet for pushing towards the playoffs? And I'm just going to say, I had Cambridge picked for relegation at the start of this season. Could not be more wrong. Oh wait, yes I could. I also thought Stevenage would struggle. And let's move on to Oxford United, and let's just all breathe a huge sigh of relief. It's not fun at the moment. It's not pretty. but the side has to just keep battling and has to keep fighting and trying to find a way to win. And that is what they did today. And they do deserve credit for finding that. Look, it didn't look like a goal was going to come. We needed a little bit of magic, and we got a little bit of magic. And maybe at the end of the game, we got a bit of luck with kind of a goalkeeper error and, you know, players running in to score a last-minute goal. We're short-handed. We're struggling so much going forward. We don't have good attacking options from a striking point of view. We know that. We've done it to death. And the attacking players from either a number 10 role or from the wingers is severely depleted. Those players that are out would be first team players or the first names you'd call on off the bench, and we are missing quite a number of key attacking players, and Buckingham is hamstrung from the bench. And I'd say at least what you want is a little bit of fight and a little bit of battle, and I don't know if we got too much of that in the first half. But I would say we certainly got that in the second half. That goal kind of did lift Oxford United a bit. They were fighting for the ball a lot more. They were winning a lot more second balls. And players just looked a lot more confident on the ball. I actually think Josh McEachran played very well when he came on. And maybe he's a player that often gets overlooked of could make a difference to this starting 11 if McGuane and Brannagan are tired. It doesn't prove anything and it doesn't solve anything, but you've just got to be delighted at the fact that the players were able to scrap out an ugly victory today. Play full house at the Kassam, and the fans will go home happy, and that does mean a lot. The players will get a big lift from this. We'll go again against Derby, which is going to be a brutally tough game. They're going to be almost an improved version of Cambridge, you would imagine, organised, strong at set pieces, and they're going to cause Oxford a lot of problems. And if we can't handle the set pieces against Derby, I think we could be in a lot of trouble. But the players showed fight and the players showed energy. And maybe we can be a bit more on the counter-attack against Derby, and that might prove to be a bit of a saving grace. It'd be nice if Bowden could come back in. It'd be nice if Murphy to come back in to give us some options. But I got to say, Tyler Goodhram, what a delight he is as a footballer. I was critical of him on the game against Northampton, but my goodness, from a young man, baffles you how good he is at such a young age. Just so composed on the ball sometimes, but it's got such a tenacious streak about him, and he's got that little bit of magic in his boots, as we've seen already. And he kind of floats in and out of the side at times, and sometimes he can be a little bit innocuous, but when he delivers, boy, does he delivers. And he's a special talent, and hopefully he'll be at Oxford and improve at Oxford for years to come. But as I say, it doesn't address any issues. It's just pleasing that we got the victory. And if we can eke out another victory over Derby, then we've come through a bit of a horrible period in pretty decent shape and can start to be positive as we look forward to the new year with players coming back and the transfer window opening. So, enjoy it, you negative mother effers. Oxford get a win, so that should be good, and the comments should be filled with lots of happy and positive remarks rather than the negative ones I had to read over Christmas. And I'll be back to do a review of the Derby games. Cambridge fans, Oxford fans, leave your comments down below. Always interested to hear it, and as always, just thank you for supporting the channel. Who's back at work tonight? I am. Can't wait. But at least Oxford won. Get in there. See you soon.